learners, welcome to the yet another session of environmental and occupational hazards. Today we are going to discuss about occupational health hazards in mining industry. So we have to recapitulate what we have studied in the previous session. Food safety hazards we have checked, and then they are associated with the animal feed that may be biological, chemical, sometimes it is physical in nature. So each hazard is associated with a particular sources and routes of contamination and exposure. Risk management must be based on thorough understanding of this type of characteristic features. The role of water as a potential source of hazards should not be overlooked. Hazards may be introduced with the source materials or otherwise it may through carryover or contamination of products during handling, storage and transportation. So the presence of a hazard may also resulted from the accidental, sometimes it may be deliberate, that is a fraud or bioterrorism in some cases, and deliberate human interventions. And risk management should be based upon the preparedness and prevention rather than the reaction after detection of the problem. Because of the ubiquitous presence of dioxins are there in the environment, the threat of dioxin contamination posed by feed ingredients that may originate from many different sources. For example, I would like to give that cadmium. It is very ubiquitous contaminant that is present in many feed and feed ingredients, in particular minerals and forage that will grow near smelting and mining areas. And arsenic and mercury are also heavy metals. They are also widespread in the environment that may be also found in many feeds, in particularly in feeds of marine origin. And lead is also another contaminant, and it is the microbiological hazards are also there, like brucella infection or otherwise salmonella infection, and endoparasites like echinococcus that will be considered as a chemical and biological hazard. Dear learner, today we are going to discuss about some of the occupational hazards that are faced by the mining industry workers. We know that mining is one of the ancient occupation. It is also long recognized as being arduous and liable to injury and disease. So the life cycle of mining, that is exploration or mine development and mine operation, decommissioning and land rehabilitation. So mining is a multidisciplinary industries. That means it is drawing on several professions as well as trades. So to ensure precision in clinical and epidemiological work, it is important to inquire about the details of tasks, as the term miner, which is relatively non-specific in nature. So mining is traditionally classified as metalliferous or coal, and also as surface or underground mines. So metalliferous mining can also be classified according to the commodities which are being mined. So some degree of minerals, their processing is usually undertaken at mine sites. For metalliferous mining, many of the occupational health hazards which are related to these metallurgical process. So there are 5 types of occupational health hazards are there for the, especially in the mining workers. First we will see that physical hazards. So that means traumatic injury, that means that remains a significant problem, and also it ranges from the trivial to the fatal. So they are the most important common causes of the fatal injury, like rock falls are there, and also fires, explosions, and mobile equipment accidents, falls from height, and also sometimes entrapment and electrocution. So you must have read in the newspapers for the different hazards and different accidents that occurred in the mining industry. Less commonly but recognized causes of the fatal injury, like flooding of underground workings, and also sometimes it is wet fill releases from the collapsed bulkheads, and also air blast from the block caving failures. And noise is also an almost ubiquitous in mining industry. It is generated normally by the drilling, that is a mining procedures like drilling, blasting, cutting, materials handling, ventilation, and crushing, and conveying and ore processing. So in all these process, noise is involved. So controlling noise has proven very difficult in mining because these procedures are compulsory, and also they are noise induced hearing loss remains very common in mining workers. So noise induced hearing loss is one of the most reported occupational diseases in mining. Constant exposure to heavy machines that produces arrhythmic, high intensity noises is responsible for permanent threshold shift of hearing profile, and it is also one of the most reported occupational diseases in mining. Constant exposure to heavy machinery that produces the high intensity noises, and also there is a permanent threshold shift of the hearing profile. And heat and humidity, they are also encountered in tropical locations and also in deep underground mines where the virgin rock temperatures and air temperatures increases with the depth because of the principally to the geothermal gradient and also to the auto compression of that air column particularly. So the entire body vibration is commonly experienced while operating mobile equipment, and entire vibration sometimes we have to check, that is a load haul dump units or trucks, scrapers and diggers. So this can cause pre-existing spinal disorders, and also poorly maintained roads are also one of the important cause for this type of injuries, and sometimes vehicles, they also contribute to this problem, and hand arm vibration syndrome is also experienced with the use of vibrating tools like air leg rock drills or otherwise load haul dump units, trucks and also some diggers. This can cause a pre-existing spinal disorders what we have seen early, and poorly maintained roads and vehicles, they will enhance this problem. And also some important radon daughter exposures in radioactive mining, in underground mining, that has been increased the risk of lung cancer, but it is now generally controlled by the mining ventilation procedure. And infrared exposures are also there in pyrometallurgical process that contribute to heat stress and also induce the cataracts. And barometric pressure is also at elevated in deep underground mines are reduced, and also at high altitude mines. Chronic intermittent hypoxia is also one of the disease at altitude that has been reported to induce physiological adaptations and symptoms of benign acute mountain sickness, that is AMS, in mining workers. Now we will see that what are the chemical hazards which are associated with the mining industry. Crystalline silica, it is a long been a serious hazard in mining industry with the risk of the silicosis, and also it is very worst during dry drilling. Silicosis is a form of occupational lung disease that is caused by the inhalation of crystalline silica dust. If you will look into the pictures, you will observe that it is marked by the inflammation and scarring in the form of nodular lesions in the upper lobes of the lungs. It is a type of pneumoconiosis. Silicosis particularly, it is in the acute form, is characterized by the shortness of breath, cough, fever, and also sometimes it is cyanosis, that is a bluish skin. And prolonged exposure to the crystalline silica, that can also cause chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and increase the risk of the lung cancers. So dust mainly from the iron ore or silica and mixed with the dust like asbestos, which are common chemicals to which miners are exposed to. So explosive residuals like nitrates and sulfur, and they are also present in mines. Especially coal dust, it has also been a serious hazard in mining, causing the coal workers this type of black lung disease, and also cause the obstructive pulmonary diseases. Coal dust and methane gas explosions in the underground coal mines remains a serious risk for the requiring the comprehensive monitoring and then management. Now we will look into the biological hazards. Biological hazards like malaria, dengue fevers are more common in hilly areas of mining industry. So the risk of tropical diseases like malaria and dengue fever are which are substantially and then also at some remote mining locations, and leptospirosis and also encylostomiasis were common in mines, but also the eradication of rats and improved sanitation has been controlled these hazards effectively in the developed world. And we have to use the cooling towers. They are commonly found on mine sites, and regular microbiological analysis of the water is necessary to detect that some types of Legionella contamination or high concentrations of the other heterotrophic microorganisms. So now we will go for the ergonomic hazards which are faced by the mining workers. So there are the mining has become increasingly mechanized. So there is still a substantial amount of manual handling is occurred, in particular in certain mining industry. So we have to check that cumulative trauma disorders, they will continue to constitute the largest category of the occupational disease in mining, and frequently resulted in prolonged disability. And for example, low roof or otherwise undulant surfaces, and poor lighting and high noise and dusty environments, this type of criteria is there. They will definitely cause the several musculoskeletal disorders. And also repetitive strain injury along with the heavy manual material handling, that can also be affected the back or the shoulders, forearms, wrists and then hands. And if you will see the psychosocial hazards, this is the name normally used for those hazards that can have an impact on psychological health or mental or emotional well-being of a person, whoever it is or whatever it is the sector. Drug and alcohol abuse, these have been a difficult issue to deal with in mining industry, but policies and procedures, they are now in place in most large mining operations. According to the survey on drug use and health, that is NSDUH, which is conducted in USA, heavy alcohol use amongst the full-time employed persons across the industries, and alcohol consumption is highest among miners. So a worker who is staying near the work site should be away from the family, is associated with isolation, depression, loneliness. In addition, serious accidents, fatal injuries of colleagues, that have a profound impact on morale of mine workers. Unfortunately, fatal and severe traumatic injuries that continue to occur in mining and also frequently have a profound impact on their morals. Post-traumatic stress disorder sometimes develop in and also witnessing colleagues as well as the managers. So now we will see that occupational diseases which are specific to the mining industries, these coal workers, or otherwise we can say that pneumoconiosis, it is also known as black lung disease, because lungs become black due to the long term exposure to the coal dust. So the dust that builds up in the lungs, that which leads to the inflammation, and fibrosis sometimes happens in the worst cases, and then it leads to the necrosis. And we have seen already that the silicosis, that is also caused by the inhalation of dust that contains free crystalline silica granules. So silicosis, that is caused progressive as well as permanent physical disability, and it is associated with the tuberculosis, commonly termed as silicotuberculosis. And the another disease is the asbestosis. So there are four common diseases which are caused by the inhalation of the asbestosis fibers. These are mesothelioma and also lung cancer, asbestosis, and diffuse pleural thickening. So sometimes it may be fatal or very deliberating activity they can pose. And those who are working in this type of mining industry, there is a lot of exposure to asbestos fibers in the mining, manufacturing, handling or removal of the asbestos, which are at risk of developing asbestosis related diseases. And occupational asthma is also one of the diseases normally we will see in the mining workers. So it is a common disorder among miners due to the exposure to various sensitizing agents. And some of the sensitizing agents like xanthates, they are the reagents commonly used in the hydrometallurgical process. They will produce carbon disulfide gas on the combustion or on mixing with water. So, suspected acute carbon disulfide toxicity that has been reported during the xanthate reagent preparation at metallurgical processes. And hydrofluoric acid is also used in the analysis of the some samples which are highly important for these industries. They have been taken during the exploration of the drilling, and smelting of the sulfide ores that produces sulfur dioxide as a gas, and then it causes acute bronchospasm. And we will see that mining safety and health laws and regulations and what are the procedures to mitigate this type of diseases normally occur in the mining industry. So, the Ministry of Mines of the Government of India is the apex body for the formulation and administration, and also for the execution of this type of rules and regulations and laws which are related to the miners, especially in India. So, the Ministry of Mines is responsible for survey, and also they will explore all types of minerals other than the natural gas and petroleum. For mining and metallurgy of non-ferrous metals like aluminium, copper, gold, nickel, like that. And the ministry is also responsible for the administration of the mines and minerals, that is a Development and Regulation Act 1957, that is a MMDR Act, in respect of all mines and minerals other than coal and lignite. So, after the liberalization in 1991, a separate national mineral policy was established in 1993, which set out the role of private sector in exploration as well as in mining. So, the MMDR Act was amended many a times to provide for a reasonable concession to attract the private sector investment, like foreign direct investment, that is a FDI, into exploration and mining in accordance with the NMP in 1993. So, the Ministry of Coal is a separate ministry which is responsible for the development and exploration of coal and lignite reserves in India. So, the Mines Act in 1952 was enacted to enforce measures of safety and welfare of laborers, those who are working in coal, metallic, ferrous and oil mines, working hours and intervals and night shifts, and these have to be monitored properly. Then the act also prohibits the employment of any women, especially in any part of the mine which is below ground and also on ground, except between the hours of morning 6 to evening 7 o'clock. And it is also provides that every woman employed in a mine above ground shall be allowed to break of not less than 11 hours between the end of the day and also the commencement of the next day of the work shift. And safety measures like the Mines Act in 1952 provides the lot of safety measures for the laborers working in coal, metallic, ferrous and also oil mines while working with shifts and then open cast workings and also working with shafts, conveyors or aerial ropeways. So, it is most important economic activity in India, and our country is also one of the largest exporters of the iron ore and also chromite, bauxite and mica, and it is ranked 5th among the mineral producing countries in terms of the quantity of production. So, the mining sector that contributes nearly 2.4% to India's GDP, and there has been a private sector participation is also there in the mining, and the government through its various public sector companies continues to be the largest participant in the domestic mining industry. So, earlier government policies and legislations that had largely focused on regulation of mines and minerals rather than the exploration and development. So, taking cognizance of this stagnation of the mineral industry, there are various reforms have been initiated by the Indian government that allows for the greater private sector participation in mineral exploration, mining, development and maintenance. So, India has set a goal to switch completely to electric vehicles by 2030, But to achieve this goal, it needs to invest in domestic manufacturing of lithium ion batteries, that is currently in an electric vehicle's most expensive component, that is lithium ion batteries. So the Niti Aayog, that is a government of India's think tank, that has been observed that India does not have adequate reserves of some of the most important lithium ion components like lithium, cobalt and nickel. So India will need to forge international partnerships and joint ventures to secure access to key minerals in order to build up its domestic battery manufacturing industry. So dear learners, so far we have seen varieties of hazards that are experienced by the mining industry workers. So I would like to conclude over here that for persons those who are exposed to lead or otherwise blood lead analysis and delta aminolevulinic acid in urine, and at least once in a year compulsory. So the employees those who are exposed to ionizing radiation definitely have to undergo blood count at least once in a year, and serum urea creatinine is also included for the assessment of renal function. And in addition to the routine urine, fasting and postprandial blood sugar should be done for the early diagnosis of diabetes mellitus. And for employees those who are exposed to the manganese, and special emphasis has to be given to the behavioral and neurological disturbances like speech defect, tremor or impairment of equilibrium, and also some emotional changes. And also detailed neurological examinations like testing of all major superficial and deep reflexes have to be performed. In addition to these measures, blood pressure and also detailed cardiovascular assessment of employees, that like electrocardiogram and complete lipid profile has to be undertaken. And also one of the important measure has to be there, that is the employees engaged in the food handling and preparation and handling of sand, gravel or the clay, that have to undergo routine stool examination once in every 6 months, and sputum for the detection of the tuberculosis bacilli, and chest radiograph for the once in a year. So with these details I would like to conclude, and in the next session we will come up with the another topic of the environmental and occupational hazards. Thank you.